Hello, welcome back to Fresh from the Trollbox, the BitMEX Trader podcast with our CEO, Stephan. This is episode number 8. Stephan, I know you've been traveling this week. How are you doing? How was the trading while traveling?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Uzi. Yeah, traveling was okay. Just came back from Singapore FinTech Festival after traveling. So a lot to tell, lots of stories to tell. Trading wise, a little bit muted this week, right? I mean, we had Bitcoin going down a little bit, especially while equities went up. So what's going on here, especially if you see monetary policy probably going not into easing right now, but into relaxing, especially on the US side. From my point of view, it's easily explainable. A reduced inflation expectation is actually better for equities than it is for Bitcoin. It would be the other way around. Plus, the easing or the relaxation on the US side on interest rate hikes was expected. And Bitcoin is pretty much an asset that trades with a long lead time in expectations. It's not like FX or interest rates where you just react on what's there and then arbitrage your relations. You really trade expectations. So I would say in Bitcoin, it was already in. And what you've seen as well, we have still the delays on the Bitcoin ETFs while we got just news. It's just news on ETH, etc. So the relative strength of Bitcoin compared to the other coins was muted a little bit this week. So I mean, for me as a long guy, not so good, but hey, wait and see. More to come. We know it's just the beginning. Basically, it's first days of crypto spring, right?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, we see volatility being a little bit lower than compared to the last 2 or 3 weeks. So obviously, always a bit of a spike when it moves a lot, but generally intraday volatility down a little bit compared to, I guess, the early weeks of November. You mentioned the news on ETH. We've seen BlackRock now filing for an ETH ETF. Should we expect that essentially every coin under the sun gets its own ETF? What's your view there?
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at TradFi, they're up for big liquidity and big market cap assets that they can then slice and dice and sell to your grandma. Whether you like it or not, this is how it works. So they will focus on the main assets. I mean, I would be very surprised if TradFi goes into more than the top 5 coins at all. So maybe 1 or 2 more to follow, but I think not like another 10 or 15.
Okay, and we'll save the guesses which are the top 5 that we'll see for the next time. But then looking at the week's trading behaviors, right? We see a little bit of a resistance at 38K. Do you see that too?
Definitely. Interpretation from the market sentiment is people have hoped for a quick crossing of the 40K, which didn't happen. So many traders are sidelining. They even reduced exposure now and go to sit and wait mode. While at the same time, I mean, we can't tell, but from how I read it, they're all prepared, right? I mean, the moment we cross probably the 38K, there will be large flow of money long into Bitcoin again. At least this is what I expect.
Okay, yeah. So everybody get ready, set your positions at a little above 38 is what I hear.
Yeah.
And then that's maybe a good thing, actually. This is one of those weeks where it's good to remind everybody of how to trade professionally. Do you want to share a little bit? What are the things that you always make sure you have set, ticked, and checked when you start trading?
Yes. So if you try to trade professionally, of course, check your entries, right? So what do you trade? What's the volume? And always make sure that you you look at, do you trade, for example, Bitcoin or US dollar underlying? So what is it that you actually enter? Then, of course, set yourself a stop loss limit, regardless of whether you're long or short. So go for stop loss so that you can sleep with peace of mind. Then actually look at the risk you have, not just the entry, but what is the risk, what's the position side. Look for isolated versus cross margining, basically meaning, do you want to risk all of your collateral at hand, or do you allocate a certain amount of your collateral at hand to a specific position which is isolated margin? So I personally go most of the time for isolated margin. And then as well, if you are not in front of the screen, enter a take profit level. Yeah, sometimes you don't earn as much as you can, but it's part of trading discipline, right? And just like step by step, rather than just betting everything. And set the conditions for exiting the trade and then entering the next one early. So for me, it's a little bit like if I have all of that, so I have my stop loss, I have my take profit levels just to secure some of my profits, and then have my closing order already ready. I always think of, okay, what's next? And then going into it again. It's what we discussed with the 38,000 resistance level here. So for me, basically, I already have some stop buys there. I mean, no investment advice. Everyone should make its or her or his own decisions. But just to give you an example, right? So I'm standing readily at the sidelines to then go in if we cross the resistance.
Nice. Yeah. From a personal experience, obviously also I always have a stop loss. I struggle sometimes with the take profits. Greed interferes all too often, but it's a good reminder. Always make sure that you take your profit levels and don't just hope that it'll come and push a little higher. Don't be greedy. Take the money. It'll come down again, so you can buy cheap again. Yeah. For everybody who is actually interested in this, I just want to remind that BitMEX is investing a lot into trader education. Just on Monday this week, we had a webinar with ProfitView about algo trading. You can check it out on our YouTube page. I'll link it here. As well as we're partnering with Trader Cobb, a very professional, seasoned Australian trader who has set up a dedicated trading course for BitMEX users, and it's free if you're a BitMEX account holder. So check those out. I think that's very helpful. Plus, yeah, we have the experience from Stephan and our customer support team. If there's any questions, obviously, if you ever wonder what does this button do, or just want to hear some I guess tips, reach out to them. Anything to add in terms of trader education, Stephan?
I think that's a perfect close of the week. That's exactly what I would do. So I just can recommend go to the videos, have a look. They're helping tremendously from my point of view. Even me, they help even me. So yeah, just go there, look at it, and then start into the next week. And yeah, be brave.
Be brave. Have a nice weekend, Stephan, and see you next week.
See you next week.